for joining us for this episode of Talking Health in the 406, where we're one community under the big sky. I'm Trina Filan, a public health evaluator for diabetes and cardiovascular health projects. Today, we're talking about a terrific nutrition education program called Harvest of the Month. We have a panel of guests here with us today. Amber Lewis, Farm to School Specialist at the Office of Public Instruction, which will probably be referred to throughout this podcast as OPI, just so everyone knows. Kim Lloyd, the Harvest of the Month Coordinator at St. Peter's Health. Kara Snyder, Program Director at Helena Food Share. And Jonathan Hockett, Nutrition Program Coordinator at Helena Food Share. I have no doubt that during our conversation today, we'll bring up some very useful resources, which listeners will be able to find linked in our show notes. It's no secret that having access to a broad range of nutritious foods and actively including them in our diets helps us be healthier. This access is a key social determinant of health because it directly affects people's ability to make nutritious choices. When individuals live in areas with limited access to affordable, nutritious, and diverse foods, they're more likely to rely on processed, high-calorie options. This increases the risk of chronic diseases such as obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and high blood pressure. When we talk about access, we mean a lot of different things, from local farmers being able to grow and have markets for their nutritious foods like vegetables and fruits, having those foods available for eaters to acquire, being able to afford those goodies, having a way to process and cook those foods, knowing how to cook them once you have them, and even wanting to eat them in the first place. Improving these pieces of access to nutritious foods like veggies and fruits can reduce health disparities, minimize food insecurity, and help to establish lifelong healthy eating habits that can lower the risk of chronic diseases later in life. In episode 46 of this podcast, listeners learned about nutrition, local food systems, and health more broadly. In this episode, we're going to take a deep dive into a program that ties local produce to educating school kids about nutrition and the joys of eating vegetables and fruits. So first things first, let's start with each of you just talking a little bit about your organizations and your roles, like what the goals of your organizations are and the types of projects you usually tend to focus on. Let's start with you, Kim. Tell us all about it.
Thanks, Trina. Hi, this is Kim Lloyd, and I work with St. Peter's Health, which I think most people are familiar with as the local hospital in Helena. And we have a lot of doctors and nurses that work here, but we also do a lot of work outside of the hospital. And when I go into classrooms, I explain to students that I'm not a doctor or a nurse. Instead, my job is to try and keep them out of the hospital. So I coordinate the Harvest of the Month program here in the Helena Public Schools. We've also been over to East Helena Public Schools, and that includes monthly lessons with fourth grade students in their classroom setting. It's either myself or I also work with Carroll College and our 3 high schools in Helena to train those students on teaching the program. It's very basic public health concepts that we're taking into the classroom, and it's kind of an empowering leadership experience for those students as well to go teach nutrition education in the schools. So besides teaching myself, I'm also coordinating the program. We locally procure food for the taste test for kids. We prepare the food, beets, lentils, chickpeas, and then bring kids some taste tests. And then I also work with Helena Food Share to do the Charlie Cart in the schools, and that's hands-on culinary education for K through 5 students in the Helena Public School elementary schools as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Kim. How about you, Kara and Jonathan? Tell us all about what you all do.
All right, this is Kara, the program director at Helena Food Share, and I've been part of Helena Food Share for almost 10 years, I think. So we're really at our core a nonprofit food pantry, or what a lot of people think of as a food bank. So really what we do is we provide access to food to people who say they need food. So at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing that we do every day. And then we've made this commitment to localize our purchases, to provide a more balanced and nutritious shopping experience, to do more education, and really to even provide some of our own product. So to show people where the food comes from and diversify what that experience in our market might look like. So we've really, through a lot of partnerships and collaborations, been able to make the traditional food bank or food pantry shopping experience look incredibly different and way more healthy and positive directions.
This is Jonathan. I'm the nutrition program coordinator here at Helena Food Share. Like Kara said, we've really kind of focused on getting more nutritious, healthy food into the food pantry, and which is great because that's my job. I get to spend time out in the garden during the summer, get to oversee that space, get to grow fresh vegetables, bring that into the market, and have that available. And then to work with Kim Lloyd and the Charlie Cart, which is just a little mobile kitchen on wheels. And we use that going to the schools, but we also use that in our food pantry where we'll host demos. A lot of times we will highlight Harvest of the Month products on that. So, anything from beet hummus to lentil tacos, things like that. And we'll have a sample along with a recipe to hand out to our customers there. We did a little over a year ago, moved into a new facility. So we now have what we're calling a Community Food Resource Center here, which is opening up a whole lot of new worlds of using local products and nutritious programming. We have a community room, which is like a community space where we can host cooking classes. So we've had a few of those. We're really trying to do more of those. I've had some crock-pot classes where people came and made a meal with a crock-pot. I'm going to take a crock-pot home. We're going to have a homemade pasta making class, also partnered with Kim again, and the Alternative High School to do a healthy eating, healthy cooking series where students learn to cook and prepare food and actually shopped in our market before making products there. And
that's a lot of stuff. Good. That's cool. How about you, Amber? Tell us about what you do in your organization's role.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Amber Lewis, and I am the Farm to School Specialist at Montana Office of Public Instruction, and it's housed underneath the School Nutrition Program. And so underneath school nutrition programs, our vision as a whole is to ensure that our Montana school nutrition professionals are empowered as community leaders to provide equitable access to healthy food and environments that support the success of Montana's children. But my role as a farm to school specialist is more directly to connect with our food service directors and connect them with our Montana local producers. So they're able to bring in local product to serve in the school meal programs. So as a general overview, that's my role. And we go out and we do taste tests of local foods with the kids, and we help promote programs like Harvest of the Month and other farm to school related projects and nutrition education for not only food service directors, but teachers as well.
Excellent. Thank you. There's a ton to talk about around this topic, but I think it would be best to just start with a discussion of this program itself, Harvest of the Month. Can you all talk about what the program is, how it started, how it became embedded in our schools, and why your organizations, I think we got a little bit of a taste of why your organizations are interested in this type of programming, but maybe a deeper dive into why specifically you're working on Harvest of the Month.
The Harvest of the Month program, it mainly showcases Montana grown foods. And they can be featured in Montana schools, institutions, organizations, and a lot of different community settings. All of our program resources are free and available to anyone that would like to serve or teach and learn about Montana foods. The program is for the purpose of promoting Montana food products, promoting nutrition education, and supporting our local economy as well through purchasing local foods from our local producers. It was originally created to help our food service directors, teachers, and early childcare staff to grow their farm to school programming and introduce students to those Montana grown foods. But ultimately, the program can be utilized anywhere anyone has a vision for it. So we've seen the materials used and lots of different settings, farmers markets, hospitals, libraries. But initially, the program was designed for K through 12 and early childcare. But it's been really exciting to see the program grow over the years, and the different organizations that have taken the resources and the materials just ran with the program and made it their own. So it's really exciting to see how it's grown over the years.
I'll jump in with a little bit of our kind of food banking world perspective. And I always feel like we come to the table as a bit of an outlier, like we don't quite fit into a lot of the categories that some of these programs are designed for. And so the Harvest of the Month, which was, I think when we came on, was housed under the National Center for Appropriate Technology. And so they reached out to us to see if we might be interested in being a pilot site as the first food pantry to be involved with Harvest of the Month. And at that point, very much as a just that, a pilot. And so to kind of gather information and to see if this was an appropriate setting to have this programming in, and then gather feedback and assess and at the end of that pilot, really determine whether or not it made sense to continue doing. And what we found is that it really provided Helena Food Share with a framework to kind of build from. And so we really were just trying almost anything and everything to get fresh food in the door and to try to market it in a way that would make it more accessible for our customers. And so we really did use the Harvest of the Month materials, all of that stuff that Amber just referenced, kind of as our building blocks to create programs and food distribution avenues that had nutrition and health as a lens. So yeah, we have tried, like, probably at this point, hundreds of different projects, and some of them we have kept and some of them we have left behind. And I can say, like, Jonathan is sitting here as a testament to the ones that were super successful. And so we have, gone down the road of even trying to grow some of the products for Harvest of the Month and really getting that Charlie cart out into schools. And now we have these wonderful stories coming back where a family might be shopping out in our market, and one of the students that came with their parents to shop in our market just made beet pancakes that morning with Kim Lloyd at one of the schools, and they're asking us if we have that product, and we do, because it's this really cool coordinated effort kind of in Helena right now. And so that's been really wonderful to see. Like, I truly do feel like there has been like we have moved the needle of health in some way when you see things like that. And we've tried lentils. That was another one of our Harvest of the Month products that we almost guarantee any month of the year now you can come into Helena Food Share and get that. And truly another testament to at one point we were really pushing that product out the door, and now it's very much a section that people count on and know more what to do with because of all of those efforts that happened around Harvest of the Month.
Just to add to that, Kara had mentioned a couple of the items that are in Harvest of the Month, the beets and the lentils. There are currently 17 different Montana food products that are in circulation to choose from and to promote. And to name a few more of those, we've got and in fruits, we've got apples and cherries. We do beef and dairy, grains and lentils, squash and carrots. More recently, we just added potatoes to the repertoire, and we are considering adding a berry category such as honeyberries, or better known as haskap's here in Montana. So just to kind of give an overview of some of the products that are available in the Harvest of the Month program.
Thank you for clarifying that, Amber. And I realized when I introduced this topic that I really focused on fruits and veggies, but this is a very broad category. Pulses and meat and dairy. So very good reminder that healthy eating is a broad topic. Kim, go ahead.
So I have been with St. Peter's Health since 2021, and I was hired to increase opportunities for nutrition education in our community. And we saw the Harvest of the Month program as just a perfect fit to really reach out to our community as a whole. And there was already a teacher at Helena High, Joan Lake, who was working on this program with her high school students. And if we remember 2021, it was in the thick of COVID, and they weren't able to do what we're doing now, having students visit the classroom and teach nutrition education classes. So her students were actually making YouTube videos and bringing those to sending that to the fourth grade teacher. They were just working with one fourth grade teacher at Central, Tony Napolitano. And they were sending him YouTube videos and then making kits of taste tests for the food to bring into the classroom. And so when I started, I met with the Helena Public Schools and said, we'd love to expand this based off of Joan Lake's model. How can we expand this to more students in the schools? And we decided to make it a fourth grade program and to continue on using Harvest of the Month. Of course, the appeal to the schools and to the coordinator, myself, is that it's a free program, that we can just jump in and grab the materials. There used to be a registration where you had to log in and track the number of pounds of food that were purchased. Now it's just a website you can go to and you don't have to log in. So it's really cool to be able to just access those resources and share them with all of our community members that we're working with. And we also wanted to make it like a community-wide program so that, like Kara was mentioning, having the student that was cooking in the school and then seeing the same foods at Helena Food Share, being at the hospital, we started putting out table tents on our cafe that had information about Harvest of the Month foods. We wanted to see people maybe going to the library and seeing a poster, and having family members out in the community during the day learning about kale, beets, lentils, and then coming back home and saying, oh, I'd like to try that. Or did you hear this? Let's try and make this at home. Just kind of empowering our community members to really have that experience together and be excited about it together. So I love the Harvest of the Month program. I used to be a SNAP educator before this position, and I also worked at OPI. So I've seen the Harvest of the Month program kind of evolve, I guess, or be used in more unique ways over the years. And it's just a really fun, of course, research-based information too, which I think is super important, because right now there is just tons of information about nutrition out there and it can be kind of confusing. But really, it just promotes like whole foods, Montana grown foods. There's a lot of benefits to looking at the materials.
I was just going to talk about like the Harvest of the Month and just like how beautiful the resources are. The posters and the artwork and the materials that are available are just pretty amazing. Like it's kind of a nice focal point out in our food pantry, and it's a fun thing to change every month. So we'll always have a little poster and then a big poster and then also like a little slideshow with facts and stuff like that out there for our customers. Just a cool educational thing for our customers. And it's just, so I wanted to touch on that. Like even in our community room, I think some of the more things we have more often, like lentils and garbanzo beans, and I think carrots. I just left those posters in there all the time just because they're so nice, and it's just a beautiful thing to look at when you're in those spaces. I don't know. I guess I've been around like Harvest Month for a while. I used to actually work on organic vegetable farms down in Gallatin Valley, and worked at Shore when I moved to Helena, and they were doing the Harvest of the Month there, which was cool to see as well, just how widespread it is in the state.
That's wonderful. And it is so important to create compelling, beautiful ways to communicate about food, right? Especially food that may be unfamiliar, or people might have a bad association with, or, my mom used to overcook the broccoli, or, we used to have canned spinach. And maybe people aren't as excited to eat some of those foods that actually are quite beautiful and tasty. And actually, we have somebody in the office whose kid now apparently eats all kinds of things because of the Harvest of the Month program. And our colleague talks about it a lot, that her daughter will come home and say, "Oh, kale, it's delicious. We need to eat this. Here's this thing we need to eat." And so she went from being a very picky eater to being an expansive and delighted eater. So that may not be what happens every time, but what is the process of getting kids to go from yuck to yum? How do you do that in the Harvest of the Month program?
It's so funny that you mention the kids being excited to try the foods, but I have done a taste test at the hospital here too. And I will say, compared to providing kids taste tests, adults, even those that work in a hospital, are a little more hesitant to try new foods. I remember doing a chickpea tasting here at the hospital, and some were like, "Oh no, I don't like chickpeas. I'm not going to try that." But bring it into the classroom, and I never tell students that they have to try the food, but I give everyone a sample. If they don't want to put it in their mouth, there's other senses to use. We can look at it, we can smell it, can touch it if you want to. Does it make any sound? There's different senses they can use to try the foods. And I think the classroom setting is such a great spot to try new foods because they're with their peers. If they see a friend trying it, they may want to try it. I have an 8-year-old at home, and I have a hard time getting her to try food. So I'm like no magician. Really, it's something that I think bringing into the classroom, it's a fun thing. They learn about the nutrition of the food. They learn some fun facts. They do a fun activity, and then they're given some food, sometimes right before lunchtime, and they're just willing to try it, given the recipe. And I ask their opinion about it too, and if they don't like it, that's fine. Don't have to say anything gross about it. We ask students whether they loved it, liked it, or tried it. We're not using the words yuck or gross or I didn't like it either.
To echo what Kim was saying about trying it with your peers, I would just say doing the taste tests, it becomes almost a positive peer pressure thing. Like if another student is enjoying it, then they're more likely to try what their friend has had. Another way to get kids to start liking a new food too is we've seen food service directors offer that food item in multiple ways. So don't offer it just as, whether it's raw or whether it's roasted or like within a dish. And then a lot of times too, they'll offer it throughout the month in different ways as well. So even if they didn't like it in, say, like a casserole, or maybe they didn't like it raw, they might like it in a different way. So if it's offered in different ways, then kids are more apt to try it. And the more they try it, then they might like it over time as well. Those are just some examples of how we've seen food service directors introduce food products, to their school menus. Try and try again. And so a lot of times kids, as they grow up too, their palates change. And so I know me as a kid, I did not like tomatoes, and you could not get me to try a tomato for anything. But now they're one of my favorite things to eat. So, maybe just even over the grade levels, like as a first grader, if they didn't like it, hopefully by the time they get to fourth grade, trying and reintroducing these foods on a regular basis and seeing it and learning about it and knowing what nutrition it brings to them to nourish their bodies as well is extremely important.
I was just going to echo some of that about adults and trying things sometimes in the food pantry. We get a very diverse group of folks coming in here. Some things are easier to encourage tasting. Beets can be a pretty divisive topic. But like trying it in a lot of different ways has been pretty great. It seemed like the beet pancakes were a huge hit in the schools. Simple beet salad I made, not so much. Beet chocolate cake was a little more popular. So yeah, trying like Amber said, tried a variety of things for kids and adults was pretty just entertaining and fun. Just kind of lots of different ideas of how to prepare ingredients with Montana grown products. And then I have a fifth grader who last year was in fourth grade. I think fourth grade is kind of the time when Harvest of the Month is in schools the most. And she was really excited to come home and be like, guess what the Harvest of the Month is? So that was pretty cool to see just like how excited she was about it as well.
Yeah, I've heard that fourth graders are sort of the ideal age to extort their parents to do stuff that they may not do. In San Diego, apparently, fourth grade is where they learn about fire safety and making a fire safety plan, because fourth graders will go home and nag their parents that we need to do this. So have you noticed that children are better promoters of trying stuff out compared to adults, or is there any difference at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think kids are the low-hanging fruit, honestly. Like, it was easy to get in to talk to a bunch of kids at once by visiting the schools. The adults, I think, are a little harder to reach or have a little more opinions around food already. And I mean, that's fine. We're all have a right to our opinions about food. But yeah, I think it's just kids are, I think, like, adding to what Amber was saying about how food service directors can offer food, we can give them kind of fun names too. And that's something that makes it really approachable for kids to try, like saying like bodacious beets or something that like has something that they can be excited about trying, or superpower spinach or something. I don't think that's as good of a marketing scheme for adults, but I'm open to ideas.
So a lot of times when we do taste tests as well, stickers are like a huge incentive for kids for whatever reason. So I just wanted to add, as one of the resources that we have within Harvest of the Month, we do have logos and we have templates to print all of these things out yourself. So even if you wanted to do beets is what you're running as your Harvest of the Month that month, then we have the template so you can print out stickers and hand out stickers for the kids. And if they tried it, then they get a sticker. And it's a fun activity even for the kids to have that. We have the logos on the Harvest of the Month website, plenty of templates to use, recipe cards, nutrition lesson plans, and activity suggestions as well. So anything that you can possibly think of on our resources page, it's all there. And it's there for lots of different categories too. So whether it's community oriented, like able to use at Helena Food Share, or a hospital setting, school setting, farmers markets, there's even some resources for producers themselves available.
It's really comprehensive. It's a really well thought out, well-tested program that has a ton of cool resources, and we'll make sure to put that website in the show notes so that people can just go take a gander. I am wondering how you get families involved in the program, or if you do, outside of being told by their kids that it is time for us to eat kale now. What kind of other ways do you promote, or do families get involved with Harvest of the Month?
I think that a couple of other ideas that we have for outreach, we do a table at the farmers market in the summer. So another way, I guess, it's definitely kid focused and kid oriented, but rather than handing out taste tests, we try to do like art projects with food. And so we have like painting with beets or making seed tape strips to plant in their garden and things like that. And typically kids are there with their adults, and the adults will engage with recipes and stuff that we have at the booth. And it's a family way to get involved with Harvest of the Month. We've done, it's been a while, but we did do some programs at the library. We did some talks that were focused for adults. We had some speakers come in. I think we had Cole Mannix from Old Salt come in during Beef Month and do a talk about ranching and give his perspective. And then we've done a few other like wellness related talks here at the hospital, and Harvest of the Month always comes up as a great resource for recipes and access to information about whole foods. And we have a Harvest of the Month section on the St. Pete's website. Sometimes I find that adults maybe don't want to attend an in-person thing and they just want to find the resource online or watch a video or things like that. So we're working on trying to have more resources and things to access away from a community setting as well.
I feel like all of our programming really is designed around families. And so when we approach Harvest of the Month, we try to be as encompassing as possible and approachable. And so some of the things that we've done is, Jonathan mentioned earlier, having the Charlie cart out in the market. And so if you're shopping, you will pass the Charlie cart and there will be a really friendly, fun person behind it who will kind of like call you over and engage you. And so we've had a lot of interactions there where a whole family might be over there having a conversation and trying something and talking about it together. And then after they try that thing, if it's like a lentil stew or a carrot slaw or something, they go directly to the produce cooler where they get to pick out some of the products that were in that recipe and also take a recipe card with them. And so often, and especially in the summer, we do have just a lot more families coming in, a lot more families bringing their kids, maybe childcare or school isn't an option. And so people really are just bringing in their kids, and a lot more intergenerational families coming in and engaging with us and engaging in the Charlie cart and in the Harvest of the Month programming. And then the other piece that again, I think Jonathan mentioned at the beginning, but we really do have our hands in the dirt now as well. And so you might be able to come in not just to shop, but actually to volunteer with Helena Food Share. And you could be out in our garden tending to some leafy greens, some kind of salad mix. You could be harvesting that product, or you could be inside bagging some of that product to put out into our market. And our first priority is always our customer base. But we have these other populations that we also serve, and our volunteers are certainly one of those, and providing a really rich experience for someone to engage with Helena Food Share that involves harvesting product, planting product, processing it in some way, and then really thoughtfully putting it out for customers to peruse. That's all part of Harvest of the Month for Helena Food Share as well.
The garden is one place where youth can come volunteer, volunteer out in the market or the pantry, 16 and older generally. But, the garden is a good place to get families involved. And some of my volunteers last year were family. It's always fun to see.
A program like this sounds like it really thrives around collaboration, and that it in turn helps your organizations thrive. So can you talk a little bit about that mutual relationship between you all and how it relates to this Harvest of the Month idea?
I think specifically for Helena, we need to mention the Lewis and Clark County Kids Nutrition Coalition. It's kind of been the backbone to nutrition education efforts being collaborated across our community. We have a number of people who have been members for years and really focusing on kids' nutrition. I think we see that, at St. Pete's as like an upstream approach to healthcare. So trying to reduce our risk for chronic disease, diet-related chronic diseases in our community. And they saw a need for more nutrition education in our community. The Kids Nutrition Coalition did. And especially with SNAP-Ed kind of having limitations on what they can do. And so that was really kind of the start for bringing the Harvest of the Month program into the schools and having me hired as a coordinator of the program with St. Peter's Health. But I think it's really important to have also the Harvest of the Month program as kind of a backbone program that we're all on board with, and really simple, information that we can take and don't have to do much with, and can really, I guess, communicate through using those similar resources. And I know working with Food Share so closely, we've tried some things that have not worked out so well, and we've had people not show up to things, or we've had things that more people show up to than we thought would, too. So it's really kind of a trial and error kind of program, but there's definitely interest in nutrition education in our community and agriculture education. And there's really an interest in trying to increase access to fresh and local foods, supporting our local farmers, and learning more about where our food comes from. I think there's general interest in it. It's just trying to make the whole system work together, because it's not just Food Share and the hospital. We also have grocery stores and transportation and just all of these issues that have been part of the conversation for many, many years. And I feel like we are getting somewhere, and it's really exciting to see continued support and interest in our food system.
And I'll just kind of piggyback off of that a little bit. So when Helena Food Share first engaged with Harvest of the Month, this was back in 2018, and I feel like it was more structured almost. Like there was kind of an offer of like, this is kind of like what we're thinking, and this is how you can use it. And I do think that we, like Kim said, tried so many things, and some of them worked and some of them didn't. And kind of getting back to that collaborative approach, I think at Helena Food Share, we've always just been so open about what we can do and then also what we can't do. And we are not dietitians, we are not chefs. There's just a lot that we don't know how to do. And so it was just it was the spark, I think, that really pushed us to engage with people in a different way. And it really helped Helena Food Share like pinpoint people in town that we could collaborate with, and then I think really formalize some of those projects. And those are things that we have held on to. And so, we might have the Charlie cart out in the market once a month if it's available, or we might now in this new space kind of transform that idea into something a little bit bigger. And so we have this community room where we can host those interactive classes where you're coming in and you're maybe working with that same chef that you grabbed a sample from the Charlie cart a year prior, and now they're teaching an interactive class where you're making pasta with them. And so you can make that product, you can take it home, and then you can also shop out in our market and find some of those ingredients for it. And so I think we've kind of taken all of these little things and I think pieced them together and really created a sustainable program here. I think that's really kind of what I'm working towards here, is that out of a pilot project, out of like a lot of small ideas, came this really solid, collaborative, citywide, community-wide program that really gets referenced in a lot of different areas. And it's very cool to see.
I just wanted to touch on the collaboration point as well, because the Harvest of the Month program in general, it's so easy to incorporate into a lot of different things. And so I think it makes the collaboration easy and maybe not seamless, but if Kim is operating her program and Helena Food Share is operating their program, it's really easy to see the overlap there and be able to coordinate on several different levels. So that's where the collaboration is really important, I think, in terms of the nutrition education and bringing everything full circle, if you will. And then from a broader lens too, from the get-go, from the Harvest of the Month implementation too, as a whole, looking at all of Montana, there were lots of different organizations that came together on this project. And whether it was different funding streams or different organizations being able to pick up the project to keep it going, there's been a lot of different players over the years as well. So anyone from Montana State University, Team Nutrition, Kara had mentioned earlier, NCAT, which is the National Center for Appropriate Technology, Montana Farmers Union, they have a lot of curriculum and things that they use. Harvest of the Month for Abundant Montana has also had a hand in this, as well as Montana Department of Ag. We've got St. Pete's, Helena Food Share, OPI. Like there are a lot of different players and a lot of different organizations that have just embraced this program. And to be able to collaborate with so many different organizations, and again, just fully making this whole program come to a complete circle for everyone involved. Everyone from food service directors to students to producers. It's just an easy program to operate.
There is one thing that has been mentioned a whole bunch of times, and I think that it would be great to explain it a little. Can somebody talk, or everybody, can you talk about the Charlie cart? Because that is pretty rad, and I think folks need to know more about it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a nationwide program that kind of based out of Berkeley, California. I forget how many Charlie carts are in the network off the top of my head right now. But it's a self-contained kitchen on wheels, really. It's geared towards K through 5 predominantly. It's got everything you need. It's got a little tiny oven, like induction stove and all the cookware to teach lessons and things like that. So when we transport it to the schools, we have our big box trucks that we use for grocery rescue. We will put the Charlie cart into the back of that and drive it to the elementary schools in town, have a very long ramp and a winch, take it into the elementary schools. And then Kim and all the people that she works with gets to do the lessons in the schools. So with the K through 5 elementary students. Historically, we've used it kind of, as to demo things like we've said, where we will have someone preparing one of those ingredients out in the market. And so there will be a sample, a taste test, and then a recipe to go with it, kind of highlighting something. Usually, most of the time, it is a Harvest of the Month that we're harvesting on that. So that's the way that we kind of use it in out in the food pantry. But it's rolls pretty well, so it's nice and mobile, so we can move it around. So we've moved it around a few different places, but it has now, in our new building, it has its own corner, the Charlie Cart corner. It's dubbed, has a little sign there, so that's where all the Harvest of the Month stuff is. I think it's easy to talk about where we were like 2 years ago, and with the Charlie Cart, it wasn't a lot of room, so we had to hide it in a little plywood box where we stack things, and now it kind of gets to be a little more have its own corner, because it is a huge, I think, kind of a big part of the beginning of our nutrition programs. Now we have this community room and this commercial kitchen, but the Charlie Cart, I feel like, really started that all. Just it's an awesome partnership working with St. Pete's and Kim, and just getting to use that in different ways. And their website has a lot of information. It comes with a curriculum that you can use as well.
Yeah, I love teaching on the Charlie cart. It's such a fun tool to have. It's meant to be in the classroom. I mean, it's a great tool to have at Food Share too, but inside the cart, there's 25 cutting boards, 25 plastic knives, rolling pins, cheese graters or carrot graters, things that kids can use. They're like, and they're kid size too. So they're meant to be for small hands and safe for them to not cut themselves and whatnot. And we drop it off Helena Food Share drops it off for a week at a school. And I work with the principal or school counselor to coordinate all of the classes, and each class comes to visit me for half an hour. I bring all of the food items, and then my goal is to have every student in the class have some part in helping to make the recipe. So Harvest of the Month lessons are a little bit different because we're bringing the food in already made, just because we want to focus on the nutrition education component there too. But with the Charlie Card, it's meant to be hands-on. So we have this month or this year for the entire school year, we're making lentil nachos in all of the elementary schools. So I'm having students help chop onions, measure out already cooked lentils. They are measuring out, there's 8 different spices in the recipe. So we have some students using a mortar and pestle to grind up the spices, measure out all the spices as well. I have some students grating cheese, and it's basically, I give the instruction. They all are cooking at once, and then it all comes together and we have time to eat. It's a very quick lesson. We only have 30 minutes. So I have to put a lot of thought in ahead of time of how we're going to do it quickly, efficiently, no one getting hurt, keeping food safety in mind, all of that. I have had some teachers, say, oh, some of these students don't get to smell food cooking at home. And since our schools here in Helena have the satellite kitchen, they don't get to smell food cooking really at school either. So it's really cool to have students see foods being made from scratch and how different ingredients come together and different flavors to make one dish that everyone's enjoying together. And I usually only have 1 or 2 students who say, I'm not going to try it, but most students feel really proud of making something together and then eating it together. And I love seeing them sit at their tables and talk about the food and have comments, or I say, what would you change about it if you didn't like it? So it's just such a fun opportunity to be out in the community and having kids make food together.
Awesome. I have not seen a Charlie Cart in action, and I am bummed. So I'm going to have to go to Food Share and take a gander. Hopefully enlightenment will come soon.
I'm always looking for more people to do, to volunteer on the Charlie Cart and do demos in the food pantry. So if that interests either of you or anybody else that's listed, we have a new volunteer webpage on our website. Check it out. The volunteer application. Showcase Harvest of the Month or anything else you'd like to prepare. We're pretty open. We like to highlight ingredients we have out in there, but always looking for more chefs to use the Charlie Cart when it's not in the school. So it gets a little busy during the school year, but it's here often. Circling back, I had another little thought about kind of collaboration and just how working on farm and from a producer lens a little bit, and just how cool Harvest of the Month is that all over the state. We went and picked up beets from a farm I used to work at in the Gallatin Valley, brought those beets back, and some Kim took some into the schools and made the beet pancakes with them, which were kids actually came in looking for them at Food Share. So just how cool it is and how far reaching it is. We have the Kids Pack program that had local beef jerky in it, and we even tried some from Montana. So trying the whole statewide agriculture.
This is an opportunity to showcase all the different things that are produced in Montana, right? There is a ton of variety throughout the state. I think that we're the biggest organic lentil producer in the country, right? And so this is a great chance to raise awareness about local agriculture as well, and the diversity of local agriculture and the work that those farmers have done for generations. So I do have a question about the students that you work with, Kim. So you said that you bring in high school students and Carroll College students, right, to help mentor kids during this program. Can you talk a little bit about how you recruit them and what their experience is when they mentor students?
this was something that we needed to do to be able to reach all the students. We have 10 elementary schools in Helena, which is about 25 classrooms a month. If we wanted to provide Harvest of the Month to all fourth grade students in Helena, that would be 25 visits for me each month, talking about the same thing every single time. And we also wanted to make it an early childhood program too. I don't think I've mentioned that we go into Head Start classrooms, and then also we have a daycare through St. Pete's Place, we call it, and give them Harvest of the Month lessons to 4 and 5-year-olds as well. And when I started, we had that high school team already making the videos. We thought it'd be really cool to make this a bigger effort around, inviting more students to help teach. And really, Harvest of the Month really simplifies nutrition education, and it's pretty straightforward. So it's not really complicated things that students have to explain. But the class at Helena High is a culinary arts class. And then we also have an AP Science class at Helena High that has jumped on board to help teach as well. Some of these students are considering like a pre-med track after they graduate high school. And then also over at Capitol High, they have quite a large culinary arts class as well. And then Carroll College said, they actually reached out to me and wanted to participate in teaching the classes as well. They have a nutrition science course, and a lot of those students are pre-med as well, or want to go into pharmacy school or nursing school. So they're interested in health and nutrition. And then I think just 2 years ago, we also had PAL, the Project for Alternative Learning High School, that wanted to help too. So we have all 3 high schools in Helena, and then Carroll College students. And it's a really cool, like service learning project for students. Even, high school students are actually a little bit intimidated by elementary students, and the college students are too. When I go in and share what they're going to be doing over the next semester or school year, they seem a little bit nervous. But fourth graders are also really approachable. They are super excited to even have me come into their classroom, and they have a ton of questions. And they are really interested in what you're coming to present. So I think it's a really good audience to send high school and college students into, because they're gonna feel empowered. They're gonna feel pretty cool going in and talking about foods, and kids are gonna be so excited to see them. I think, I'm a mom. I'm not super exciting, but if we have a Carroll football player or a high school athlete or theater major or something going in to talk to kids, they have that role model and someone a little bit closer in age that they can kind of look up to and be like, oh, they're eating lentils, I want to try them too. Something exciting. So it's kind of like a win-win situation. We're getting fourth grade students have these really cool role models that come in and teach, but then also the high school and college students are not only learning more about nutrition education and kind of helping themselves become more well-rounded public health officials in our community, they're also getting that public health experience and presentation experience. And I've had the high school teachers say, wow, it's really cool to see my students become the adults in the classroom, because they see them as students, the high school teachers do. But once they go in and teach the elementary students, they see, oh yeah, you are an adult and you have these responsibilities, and they do a really good job of being professional. I've had mostly good feedback from the fourth grade teachers that the students show up and are prepared for the classes. And I provide them a lesson plan, and I go in and talk about the importance and the reason why we do the program at the beginning of the school year. And I drop off the supplies and the food, and then they take that with them to the classroom, and they have a little bit of space to make the lessons their own and kind of add things to it. I think one of my favorite stories is our beet lesson. I had written it out to go in and teach students some boxing. I called it beet boxing, just to get students up and moving during the nutrition education lesson. But I had some high school students that said, actually, I bet that they can actually do some actual beet boxing. So they went into the classroom and had students actually write songs about beets and then perform them for the class. And they only had about 8 minutes to write a song, but they sent me just the cutest videos of kids getting up and singing about beets in front of their classmates. And so we've continued on with that. And now the lesson plan around beets is to go in and tell students all the fun things about beets, and then they write a song and perform it for their class. And I ask them to perform it for their parents when they get home as well.
I love that. Amber, I have a couple of questions for you, actually. One, when we were first talking about this podcast, you mentioned a project called Harvest Helena, and it sounded really interesting. Would you like to talk about this? And if it does not fall in the context of Harvest of the Month, that's cool, but could you clarify what that is, please?
I was referencing Harvesting Helena.
Harvesting Helena, yes.
So it was a small conference, if you will. It was hosted probably close to 2 years ago now. And we showcased Harvest of the Month and had some producers come, and we had different organizations that were in the Helena area and just talked about sourcing locally, promoting local foods. Somebody had come in the library's mobile book cart and was promoting Harvest of the Month through the library even. We had a couple of guest speakers from the hospital come and talk about nutrition. Yeah, it was just kind of a general overview for food service directors and other community members and organizations in the area just to promote Harvest of the Month and different things that were happening on a local food purchasing level within the Helena area. So I'm not sure if there's another event like that coming up soon.
Amber, I also have a question for you about how schools can get involved with Harvest of the Month, since it's not just a Helena thing. Although we've been highlighting Helena schools and Helena organizations and their involvement, this is a program that is statewide. So can you talk a little bit about how people can have Harvest of the Month in their school?
Honestly, that is probably the easiest question of the day. It's really easy. It's really simple. You can search for Montana Harvest of the Month. The website is simply mtharvestofthemonth.org, and it will take you directly to all of the resources. It tells you what the program is all about, how to get the resources. There's tabs for each different organization, whether or not you are K through 12 or early care education. If you're a food service director, there's different resources. If you're a farmer's market, in healthcare, there's different tabs underneath the Getting Started resources on the webpage. So that would be the easiest thing. The next best thing would be anybody is always welcome to reach out to myself at OPI. And I am happy to guide you through where to find the resources and where to get started, or to just have a conversation more in depth about specifics of Harvest of the Month if you'd like. The easiest route to go is that good old Google internet search, Montana Harvest of the Month.
Is there anything that an organization, a school that has not done this before and is interested in doing it, aside from looking for those resources, are there any considerations they should make? Anything that's particularly challenging that comes up regularly? Anybody they should seek to partner with to help make the effort easier? Do you have any suggestions or things to watch out for?
I would just say find either a partner, whether it's a partner organization or whether it's a partner within your school, whether it's a teacher or your principal or somebody else that's interested in farm to school or Harvest of the Month. Even though all of the resources on the website are really accessible and easy to use, it's always easier if you have a team. So build your team. We talked earlier on the podcast about collaboration. It's easier if you have more people involved and that can help you with your goals and your aspirations for this program. So don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to reach out, and use your resources, whether it's online or whether it's a teacher or somebody else that's within your community.
I wanted to ask if there are any final stories, awesome anecdotes, or any other topics folks wanted to talk about today.
I guess I want to touch on something Jonathan brought up earlier, is that all of these materials that have been created around this program are just really beautiful. And I think of the concept of connecting people with local food and high-end food as being something that often a large segment of the community gets left out of. It's kind of really a sign of privilege, I think, in a lot of ways, to be able to connect yourself to some of these products. And I am just always so humbled, and it's very cool to see the way that these collaborations have touched so many people, especially in this community. And I can tell you, like, seeing this panel here and knowing how many people are impacted by this program, it really always just heartens me to know that one of the players at the table is Helena Food Share, and that we really do serve, over 10,000 people in Helena, in this greater kind of Helena area. And a lot of people that, wouldn't necessarily have access to this incredibly cool high-end education and food. And so I feel incredibly proud that this group of people, and, a lot of other people who aren't at the table today, but have really shepherded this project into something that has impacted the number of people that it has here.
Yeah, we had like a little open house in our community room last spring, and invited our customers in to come see the space and try to get feedback of how we could use that to benefit them. And so we did lentil tacos all week. We had meal kits with lentil tacos, and people could taste the lentil taco, and other folks came in and made other things as well. So lentil tacos, a variety of other tastes, the soups, things, and it was just kind of a fun little event. And one of the customers was just like, well, I guess I like lentils, and just like this, I don't know. I found that just kind of fun and exciting, and seeing something prepared in an easy way, and then everybody got to take that meal kit home to make it at home as well with the ingredients. It's cool. It's just those are Montana grown lentils from Timeless Seeds that are available on our shelves year round now. It's really going for. There's black beluga lentils out there right now, and I've had a variety of different kinds out there at times. So
yes, thank you all. You are such great examples of how something wonderful can happen when lots of people put their brains, creativity, passion, and stick-to-itiveness to a goal. And I also have really appreciated learning about this program that I don't think a lot of people know about. Obviously, it's touched a lot of lives, but I don't know how many people generally know that this exists, and everybody should, because it is very, very cool. So I would like to thank everybody on this podcast so much for your time today. Thank you so much to our podcast listeners on behalf of myself and the crew behind the scenes. Our guests have shared so much of their time and expertise with us today, and we are very grateful. If you would like more information on what we discussed today, please visit our website at talkinghealth406.mt.gov, where there will be links to the information we talked about. If you haven't already, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. And until next time, be healthy and be well.